Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Apke and I am your host. Today I have an amazing guest who's a repeat guest onto the Soulish Podcast, Elsa Janney. She is a animal listener, quantum healer, and channeled bridge for animal human harmony. And she has a coven of 5 dogs, 2 horses, and 1 pony that she frolics and romps around with and does all of her magical things. And she's really here to help us embrace the magic all around. And what's really cool about our episode together today is that we talk about a new 12-week program called Multi that she is launching February 1st. The doors will close on February 15th. And so just a couple weeks to sign up for it. And we talk a lot about that, but it's really about the purpose behind it, which I think is really important. And that has to do with connecting with ourselves because we're multi-dimensional, multifaceted beings. And once we connect with all parts of ourselves, we're able then to better communicate with all parts of the universe, the world around us, animals, plants, insects alike, everything. All the magic that is available to us is suddenly attainable and work withable because we're connected in a way that we weren't operating from that place of connectedness and wholeness before. So I love the work that she does because it's not just to have fun and tune in, which is great and fantastic, but she really works to not only connect us within ourselves, but then to connect us with the universe and with the energies all around us. And if you know me, you know that that's what my work is all about as well. And it's really cool to see it done in such a unique, wonderful way. And so she has that 12-week program that is launching February 1st, just in a couple days from this episode. And then she also has a really amazing digital series that I'm really excited about, which features basically each one of her animals from her coven. And they share their magic with us to help us. And they each have kind of their own special aspect and purpose and intention in their magic that helps us and supports us. And Elsa said something towards the end of this episode that I thought was really profound, that as long as we are willing to receive what it is that we need, we will receive it. And I think that that's really a big deal because a lot of spirituality is all about, you need to do this, you need to meditate, you need to burn incense, you need to do all these things in order to receive, in order to attain, in order to manifest, in order to embody. But really, it's just being willing to receive. And I felt like that was one of the most significant things that she shared among all the other things that she shared on this episode. And that's what I would love for you to leave with as well, is to realize I just have to be open and willing to receive. And when I'm willing to receive, I receive. If I'm in a place where I'm not willing to receive, I'm not ready to receive something, that's okay. Nothing has to be forced on me. I don't have to do anything that I'm not ready for. But the whole point is for us to be willing to receive. And so her program really helps you with that, to realize the areas of resistance and hesitation, maybe where more healing or work needs to be done in order for you to be willing to receive in those areas. But it's awesome that everything is integrated in and is done in a way where you truly step into your divinity, your sovereignty, and the love that you are as a being. So I hope you enjoy my episode with Elsa. Here's our conversation. Hi, Elsa. Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. It's so awesome to have you back. I love the fact that you are such a big-hearted animal lover like me. I always connect with you and your posts on that because I just love animals and I love the work that you do. You're an animal listener, quantum healer, and channeled bridge for animal human harmony, which I love. And you're playing with a coven of 5 dogs, 2 horses, 1 pony, and romping around, frolicking, as you say. We'll use both your favorite words around Montana and just embracing all the magic that the universe has to offer, which I so see that in everything that you do and the work that you do and just how you live your life is really just embracing all the magic around you. And it really leaves like the people who follow you, including myself, just left with that sense of awe and magic and wonder. And it's such a good reminder always, like everything you talk about is such a good reminder that we are surrounded by magic and wonder and awe and just kind of bringing ourselves back to that awestruckness, of like nature and the magic around and who we are and the fact that we're so connected with that. And so I'm really excited to talk with you today about a new program that you have coming out called Multi, and it's a 12-week program that is launching mid-February, which is I'll be posting this probably the week prior to when your program launches. So it's going to be launching very soon. And you also have an Animal Witch Healing and Intuitive Development digital series that's in progress, which I love, and all your whole coven is on board for that, which is really fun. And so I can't wait to talk with you about that. And then just also like healing your animal ancestral line, which is so unique. And I love how you talk about that and explain what that is and why it's so important to heal that. And I know in our last episode, you mentioned that you belong to like the caribou, like ancestral line, that's like kind of where your heritage as an animal exists and lies. And that's why you had such a connection with like the caribou and the reindeer that you worked with back in Alaska. And so I love that that's part of your journey. And I think it's fascinating. And I would love to learn more for sure, as I know the audience would. So do you mind talking about your 12-week program that's going to start? Because I think it's fascinating the work that you do. And we were connecting because I lost my grandfather today. He passed. And you were like, oh my gosh, that so has to deal with my multi 12-week program that you're launching, which is fascinating.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Whitney, for that marvelous introduction. It's like trying to make these notes in my head of like, ooh, this, and that. We got to check it on this, check on that. But first off, just uh, my love goes out to you and your family for losing your grandfather. It's never a fun experience by any means, but it's always such a beautiful time to be able to sit back and reflect. And something that's with death that's always brought me the most calm and sense of just like, oh, it's okay. Especially, your grandfather, you said this amazing love filled life that he got to experience, got to share with you and your family and everyone around him is, I mean, my viewpoint of past lives and incarnating again, and is you'll get to see him again.
Yes.
That's always like such a good relief that I get when I'm dealing with death and grief is like, man, they were needed somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
not just that their time ended here, it's that they were needed somewhere else more so now than they were needed here. They
Oh,
got
that's
to,
good.
he got to leave his legacy of love, and now he gets to go and move on and, bring that to somewhere else. And that always is just for me such a nice like, okay, I'll see you on the other side and go have fun doing what you get to do in the next life.
Yes. Yeah. And knowing that you altered, like I'm sure now that he's all spirit, that he gets to kind of have a different perspective of what his life did. And I reflect back on that just with what my life is doing, every decision I make, and just even his love for my grandmother is such a legacy. But he altered where the next oncoming generations were going to go, because it was just a bunch of alcoholism and drug abuse and all of that. And because he chose to be in church ministry, Christian ministry as a pastor, that impacted his children, which then has impacted my cousins, myself, my brother. And it changed us from being more self-centered to being service oriented and really aware of other people. And so I don't think that I wouldn't have gotten there, but it's because of his legacy that I see that it was so much easier, and it was like by nature, like this is what we do. This has been generations back, that we care for others before we care for ourselves. And so I just love that I have that legacy, and that he was such a champion of love, whether it was behind closed doors or it was public with people. And so, yeah, he was such a beautiful, beautiful soul and spirit. I feel much gratitude for being able to know him. So,
So
yeah.
beautiful. I love that. Sounds like a marvelous man. And yeah, that does bring me to multi. So, multi is a 12-week, and I'm gonna fit as much as I can in 12 weeks. So basically, it's the first time I'll be launching this, and so I definitely in the future could launch it again and have it be like a 12-month course. And what I love about multi is yes, it's 12 weeks, but it's one of those courses that gives you tools for life. just because we're going to hang out for 12 weeks, you will gain and learn tools that will carry you throughout your whole life. And what it is at its core is it's a lesson in self-love. It's a self-discovery and implementation of self-love across all realms, throughout all systems of your body. I mean, I'm talking your hair, your eyes, your teeth, your bones. I mean, every system of the body, including your DNA, including the crystalline structure of water in your body. As a quantum healer, we go in and we look at each and every, tissue, cell, muscle fiber within your system and see where love isn't living, where you aren't anchored into love, where you are resistant or even apprehensive to love. I've recently been working with some animals where there's this apprehension to love, not resistance, just this apprehension where it's more of this kind of like, rather than fear, kind of tends to be more of like of that harsh resistance. The apprehension is more of this grief faceted aspect of fear, where the apprehension is there of, hey, I know what's going to happen if we do this. Whereas resistance is just like,
Wow.
I don't want any part of it. No, thank you. There's this apprehension that just needs a little bit more honoring and ushering in of anchoring into our safety. And so, but we look at, where it's so funny. It's really hard to actually say what multi is because it's so grand. It's so broad that we look at your past lives. We do a lot of past life work. So you spoke about generational work with your grandfather.
Yeah.
We look at stuff like that throughout your ancestry, but we look at your human body and where you are not receptive to love. We look at your animal body. Where in your past life history have you been an animal and you are not receptive to love, to your worth, to your deservingness, to your whole completeness of yourself, to your safety and your trust? We kind of have those three foundational frequencies that allow us to thrive, which are love, safety, and trust. No one is anchored into them. That's what we're going to do in multi, is look at
Wow.
the human body, the animal body, and I do a lot of work with mythical beings, fairies, unicorns, mermaids, and dragons. And yeah, I love being able to tell people, yeah, you've had past lives as like mythical beings. I have had so many, and there's so much magic that we can draw from them, and healing that needs to be done. Within that awareness and realm, and just acknowledgement that like we are so much more magic than we even realize.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to play with. And so we look across all realms of where we are anchored into our survival mode. And our survival mentality. So we have survival mode, which is our sympathetic fight or flight or freeze instinct. So we have, that's what we're anchored into. Most human beings and even animals, that's kind of what we find ourselves anchored into on the planet. And then that residually affects nature, our plants, our flowers, our fauna and flora, all over the world, including the crystalline structure of our water that we're drinking, because we all have that impact. If we're emitting constant states of survival, that's
Yes.
what everything around us will begin to operate as. And so within the 12 weeks of multi, we look at our love. We look at where we are not anchored into love, because within the sense and the frequency of divine love and of self-love, if we can find the roots of what is not allowing us to be there, which is looking at our past life history, this life history, inner child, shadow, ego, all of those experiences we've had in this life, as well as generational and past life, where there's the resistance, the apprehension, the big hell no, I'm not even going to think about love because it has
Yeah.
got me killed. It's gotten me, trapped, or excuse me, all sorts of bad things have happened when I've tried to do the right thing, when I've tried to lead with love. We have all these instances where it's been bad, but we are at this space and place of it being 2022, where in regards to human evolution, and we can even talk about human adaptations if that's where the channeling trails later, but we're still operating from this instinctual place of survival, but we're really being asked to operate from a new instinct and a new adaptation to thrive.
That's
And
so
when
good.
we can start thriving within ourselves first,
Yeah.
and then start operating from a place of thrive. Oh my goodness, my pets, my plants, my grass outside in my lawn, my garden, my friends, my family. Oh my gosh, the water that I'm drinking all of a sudden tastes sweeter. Everything around us
Yeah.
gets to, excuse me, implement and feed off of that anchoring into thrive.
Yeah.
And
That's so good.
oh, I'm so excited. And again, it's like, it's really hard to explain all of it. Because the course is called multi, it's multifaceted, with the understanding that there is, that we are multidimensional beings, we are multifaceted beings. So, whether it's, multifaceted within regards to how we love, how we view the world, how we view ourselves, how we see things, what we like, what we don't like, that's multifaceted. Oh, excuse me, I am nursing a good throat upgrade, been a little sore throat this week.
Aw.
Or and then, but also multi aspects of self, meaning our human, animal, and
Yes.
mythical selves, our inner witch, our inner, our ego, our inner shadow, our inner child, our inner athlete, our inner businesswoman or man, our inner, there's every aspect of ourselves is multi, which is a part of us, which we have to look at if we're really going to anchor into our soul desires, if we're
Yeah.
going to anchor into our soul, become whole, feel complete. um, I recently actually shared a post about, what does love look like to you? And my first thought of what does love look like to me is looking outside at my animals, and when you're filled with that love, and you're like, oh my god, this like actually hurts, like in a good way though, that like pleasure pain where you're like, oh, like just feel your cheeks start burning, your jaw starts locking because you're smiling so hard. And I usually will even cry when I'm really feeling activated by love, is you're just so overwhelmed with that full satisfaction.
Yes.
That's love. My goodness. It couldn't be better than that. And then I was speaking with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, just over voice notes. But then my dogs have shared this with me before, as I'll do that to them, and they go, "Yeah, but can you do that to yourself? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and into your eyes and feel that?" And I was like, no, I'm not looking at myself that way. I don't think so." And then they slowly, my animals started taking me down the rabbit hole of the last 10 years of my life, which stemmed from extreme physical fitness, eating disorders, extreme physical across the board, dealing with anxiety, depression, all of these awful traumas, and self induced places of deficit. And then, even in these last 2 years, 2.5 to 3 years, extreme soul healing, where it's like I put myself on this board of extremes in the last 10 years on both sides, not realizing that, oh, once the dust settles, once everything calms down, I can go and I can find harmony
Yes.
within those places, seeing that being on an extreme of either end is not my answer. It's no one's place of harmony and efficiency. Um, but within the interconnected, intricate webs and bridges of how my soul communicates with my body, that's where within the magic lies, where within the love lies. And when you're anchored into that awareness, engaging with the magic that your body is your soul and your soul is your body. I kind of like to think of our body as the alchemy of our soul. Our body is our first point of contact for our soul. It's our first place that it's going to communicate with us, with through intuition, spirit, or our soul coming into our body and saying, "Hey, listen to me." And how, like, I mean, it's so funny. You ask anybody, "Do you know how to listen to your body?" And our first instinct is, "Well, yeah." But it's like, "Well, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat something." Or, okay, I have to go to the bathroom now. I have to say, "Well, you just drank 2 cups of coffee." But listening to your body as the alchemy of your soul is like, "Hey, I'm being called to go rest, and I'm going to honor that.
Yep.
Hey, I am on a walk with the dogs, but only 2 of my 5 dogs. And my soul is actually tugging me backwards, saying, I want to go be with all 5. Okay, I'm going to turn around. I don't have to finish this big, long walk that I was planning on doing just because my ego and my mental brain said, hey, we have to do this walk." When you listen to what your soul body is telling you, that's where all of the sudden all of these like dots start clicking together. All of, the synapses of your brain and the messages that are connecting, from your brain to your hands to your feet to every aspect of your body start operating from a place of efficiency and love when you listen and act on that listening, because nothing knows better than our body and our soul.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating just the work that you do. And I love this program because it addresses everything. Because truly, when we're going through something, we don't realize from what place is this coming from, or places, because something that we're dealing with that's unhealed or we're feeling triggered, just as simply as
Yeah,
being triggered by something. And we're trying to figure out why I am so triggered by that and why that hurts so much. Like that hurts a lot, yet it's
yeah.
very small in the scheme of life. And like someone could have said something worse or done something worse, yet this feels like the end of of life as you know it. And it's like,
Yeah.
why does it feel that big? Why does it hurt that much? Well, probably because it touches so many different parts of you. And so addressing all parts of you, connecting with all parts of you is how not only you fully heal, but also how then you connect within yourself. Once you're fully connected within yourself, you can fully connect with everything around you in more of a way than you could before. Like I feel like we kind of not half-ass because it's not like we're purposefully half-assing it through life, but but we're half connecting. We can only connect as much as we are connected within ourselves, right?
Oh my gosh, exactly. That's like right where I was like planning on kind of going is, yeah, you nailed it. I'm covered in goosebumps. Yeah, it's once we see the intricacies of the interconnectedness of just who we are,
Yeah.
one, you can start to love yourself, all of yourself, and really feel that full satisfaction, of loving yourself, just as the way I look at my dogs or my horses and I feel that love. I can look at myself that way, but then I can look outside of myself and see that intricacy. I can see where, we talking about reindeer and caribou. I can look out and I can watch reindeer and look at them as their species. I can look at them within their ecosystem. I can look at them within their climate and environment that they are in. And you can see the interconnected awareness that they have with everything that is going on. And so I actually do a lot of work utilizing animal ecosystems to help people visualize the ecosystem within themselves. Um,
That's
are you familiar
fascinating.
with are you familiar with keystone species?
No.
So keystone species are particular species of animals within an ecosystem that if they are not flourishing and thriving, everything else around them isn't. But not just other animals. I mean, plants, water, things like
Oh,
that.
wow.
So, looking at Yellowstone, for example, like the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, when wolves were removed, wolves are a keystone species to Yellowstone. There might be other areas of the world where wolves aren't a keystone species. You kind of have to look at it geographically. So, we're looking at Yellowstone. Wolves were removed. Well, the elk population got too large, and the Yellowstone River, the water banks receded and got really big, and there was no vegetation along the water edges, and so fish populations dwindled because they didn't have safe places to go lay eggs. Different, bugs weren't doing as well, and like so because the wolves weren't there, every other animal wasn't doing well. Buffalo
Wow.
populations weren't doing as good because the river was wider and it was harder for them to cross with the calves in the after they were born in the springtime and they're moving to other grazing grounds. And so within our taking that awareness of, okay, cool, these wolves are a keystone species, and if they are not thriving, if they are not, flourishing, everything else around them doesn't either. Well, how does that apply to me? Okay, so right now, this is for example, right now, shoot, I'm operating from a place of lack. I'm operating from a place of negative self-talk and victim mentality. That is not a keystone. That's a deficit to my keystone self. And now I can't thrive. because every other aspect around me is going to start dwindling and receding and going into their own further places of deficit because I'm operating from a place of deficit and lack. And so everybody's keystone self is a little bit different, but typically our keystone self is kind of like a combination of our soul, our highest self, um, excuse me, and our future self, along with our love, kind of mixed in there. And this is something that I do in the Akashic records is I call forward a client's keystone self, and they get to meet them, talk to them, say, hey, oh, and sovereign self. Did I say that? Sorry. Our sovereign self, our highest self, and our soul. Those three, actually, who it is. And they get to talk and meet their keystone self and go, okay, help me. Where am I not operating from you? Where within the systems of my body, be it my liver, be it my lungs, be it my muscles, where's my deficit coming from? Where within my soul history is my deficit rooted in? I want to clear this deficit from my body, clear excess, because a lot of times we end up overcompensating, which that can happen in keystone species as well. So say the keystone self isn't doing well, and another species will overcompensate, and then it wipes everything out, and then they're the only one doing well.
Yeah.
There's no harmony in the ecosystem. There's no congruence, and so you might have your angry self is in excess. I've got so much anger and so much rage because I'm not operating from my place of keystone. And so then we remove excess. Let your angry self process what she's going through. Again, all these interconnected awarenesses that if we're just looking at our life as it is now, from a place of not engaging, not really seeing the magic and the connectiveness that's available to us and the energy that is there, it's very easy for us to sit back and just go on autopilot, to be in grayscale, as I kind of like to call it. And the other day I was like, man, I just want to continue to live my life in Technicolor. Like, I don't want a grayscale life. I want a Technicolor life.
Yeah. Me
That's what I
too.
want. Yeah,
Me
right. I'm
too.
like, don't we all want? I want whipped cream on the pie. I want top notch. I want,
All those cherries. I want all the
yeah,
cherries. Whole
all of
bowl.
them. And but what's so kind of pulling this back to multi is, we can sit there and be like, oh, I want, all of these things for myself. And it's not just that this is what we want for ourselves, but it's what we need for our ecosystem, for our internal ecosystems of self, for our interconnected ecosystem to the collective and to the earth. That if I'm operating from my place of keystone, from my place of magic, seeing my interconnected intricacies of life, being empowered to operate my own physical vessel, shoot, I'm feeling really angry. Okay, I'm going to call forward my liver. Liver, what are you feeling? What do you have to tell me? And we're going to learn all this in multi, how to talk to your body, how to ask different organs, different questions, things like that, depending on what emotion you might be feeling or triggers coming up for you. And when you can get past that, oh, I'm being egotistical, I'm being vain for, wanting this. It's not that we're wanting, it's that our soul is coming forward saying, hey, you're deserving. Hey, you're worthy. Hey, this is what life is all about. It is being available to your highest self, to your soul, to the desires that are coming to you and coming out through you. And remembering too that we not only have soul desires, but that we may be someone else's soul desire or a part of it. Again, the interconnected, intricate web. That it is just all of one. But the grander scale that if we are all of one, operating from a place of efficiency, operating from a place of keystone, harmonized ecosystem within ourself, from love, from thrive, well, son of a gun. Now the whole world, including humans, the planet,
Yep.
animals, everything gets to. How wonderful would that be?
Mhm.
And in my opinion too, it's not that far off. Yeah, it's not tomorrow, but if you can, it's not that hard to get people to do some inner work, to do inner work for, the greater vast awareness of this earth. It's a little bit more of foresight to see how that interconnects and plays with everything.
Yeah.
But I have so much hope and so much faith and trust that, why would we want to stay in a place of survival mode?
Yeah. why would we want to be complacent and stay where we're at in our journey, right? I
Yeah.
think it's so important first to recognize what we lack. And I think having a taste of what is possible is how you also can reflect and see, oh my gosh, there's so much more than what I'm living at. Like I'm here, and yet there's so much more for me to experience in this lifetime. And when you recognize that, I think that's more of a motivator. Like I'm always motivated to heal, to transcend, to transmute, to shift, but what really motivates me and pushes me forward, like gives me that wind behind my sails kind of feeling in life, is when I realize what is possible and what I'm settling for. That makes me realize how much more I want to experience, want to do, want to be connected with, want to communicate with. So like that's why it fascinates me the work that you do, because you communicate with animals, you do work with animals. Like it's so cool. You're not like an orca trainer, which is what I wanted to be until I realized what the industry does. You like actually get to do like spiritual work with animals. And what's awesome, which I love what you promote, is that we all can do that. Like we all can step into that oneness, into that relationship, into that communion with animals, with plants, with the whole earth. Really, we're connected with it, and there's so much more to be experienced and to heal as well, but to do, and so much more purpose to live out. And so that's what's so exciting about this program is you're not just healing and connecting, but you're also seeing what is possible, and where you may have had a limitation in your mindset, your perspective of what's possible, that gets lifted up even higher. It's like you're continually raising the roof.
Yeah. No more glass ceilings here.
Yeah,
They're gone.
no. Yeah.
Technicolor pixels all around, facets. Um, wow, I love everything that you just said. Um, and what I really want to talk about is, yeah, the fact that you said that I see that in everybody else. Thank you for noticing and acknowledging that, because I do. The reason that I'm so excited about multi, but then also kind of the other fun stuff that I've got coming up and this year is I am all about doing it yourself. And not it kind of so multi, we're not just going to try things, we're going to do things.
Mhm.
If we're still operating from a place of, oh, I'm going to try this, there's that apprehension, there's that resistance. No, we're going to go do it. Just because you do it, it might not be done properly. I'm using air quotes right now, but there's no such thing as doing it properly. It's you're doing it, so you're doing it, and the more that you do it,
Yeah.
the better you get.
Yeah.
The first time I communicate with animals, I didn't do it right, but there's no right way to do it because there's your way to do it, and I honored that. I honored that there was my
I
way to
like
do
that.
things. And I want everybody, not just people who are going to take the course. Like this is like a blanket statement for anybody who in the world, whoever is listening to this and beyond. I want you to do things your way. Why wouldn't you? Again, just like I said, our keystone self, all of our interconnected intricacies within who we are and what we've experienced, do it your way. Anchored in to your highest self, to your soul, to your sovereignty. And getting there is not easy, but it is damn well worth it. To not to not seek external validation, to not
Yeah.
look outside yourself for the answers first. And that's, I guess, part of why multi is so hard to describe is because I know what we're going to do, but I don't know the specifics of the magic that will take place in there because no one's signed up yet. The doors aren't open. And I
Right.
won't know until the first day of the opening ceremony
It
because
really matters, like the people that
yeah,
are in
it
it.
matters who's there, what they are coming to the table with their own magic, with their own need for healing, and just taking their life in their hands and saying, man, this is mine to cultivate, to co create, to be magical.
Mhm.
Um, and when I describe magic, I kind of describe it as it's just the magic is the acknowledgement of energy exchange and transference and transformation. Taking energy and seeing that it has the capability to transform. Maybe I'll transform it myself by using words, by using intention, by using thought, by using my love. I might transfer it to a particular area of my body. I might transfer it to the dogs or the horses or to a client. That's magic. But there's so much merit in magic. Like, why would we think magic doesn't have merit? Coincidences, seeing a numerology, all the time, whether it be on a clock or a price tag or a gas meter or anywhere. You see 1111, you see that's magic, and there's merit in that. You
Yeah.
see a hawk, few times a week. Oh my gosh, there's even this raven, that I keep seeing, or a bug that I keep seeing. Um, and those are just like small instances of coincidences, again, air quotes, not that you'll be able to see them when people listen. But there's so much merit in magic and what it is and what it is capable of. And again, we are all magical. We are magical beings on this magical planet. So there is merit within us. And that's one of the big pillars of what I do is just I want people to realize how magical they are and have fun with it.
Yeah.
See the availability, see the web, see the bridges, see the possibilities, like you said, and just go for it, because why wouldn't you?
So good. It made me think of something that happened this spring and summer, when I just moved to Colorado. Um, I'm like aware. I'm aware of numbers. I'm aware of different things happening, and usually end up Googling like, what does this mean? What
Mhm.
animal, like, what does this represent? This animal or bug or whatever. But I was terrified because I've never actually been stung by a bee, but I was surrounded by all types of bees all spring and summer, like following me. Like I
Oh
have
my goodness.
like bees all
The
around. And
aura. You got
yeah, I was so scared. So my neighbors downstairs at the time were like, don't run. Like if you run, like they're gonna chase you, and like and don't have like evasive maneuvers because that's even worse. And I'm like, this is so hard. Like this is so hard to sit in this, because I knew that there was a spiritual reason why bees were swarming around me, because they weren't, well, one did get caught in my hair, which was really scary, but but they weren't actually like landing on me, or even touching me. They were just in my space.
around.
And that was enough to make me extremely nervous, my heart pitter patter. And I had to just kind of rest in that. And I looked it up, and it was really just about stepping into your divinity as well as your purpose, because bees are very purposeful in everything they do, which is why I was like also really curious. Like, I don't have anything for you. Like, I'm not a flower. I may smell good, but I'm not a flower. And I don't have anything to give you other than me running away and giving you quite the chase. But like,
Yeah,
I don't have anything. So why are you around me? Because I know bees are so on it. Like they're
on
very
the
in the,
nose. Yep.
yeah, like they really have a straight purpose. And so it's fascinating to me that I was even encountering that. And I'm just walking on a sidewalk, I'm not even really up in nature, and it's just happening. But I just reflect on that now as you talk, and I just think it's fascinating because it is true that if we're aware and if we're connecting and trying to connect, for me, my blockage was fear.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
rightfully so. I love bees, but I'm horrified.
Had a really hard time, but I knew that there was something, a message, that's why there was persistence around it. And once I got the message and Googled it and let it sit in me of like, what is my purpose? What am I doing? And living with that intention every day as an example and as a reminder, as a totem, bees were trying to come around and remind me of that. And I think that's just magical. And just like little things like that, if we can tune into and be sensitive, I guess, to the fact that all of nature, all of Mother Earth is really communicating with us in every way. If it's something as simple as numerology popping up, or an animal totem, or something communicating with you,
Flowers
right?
coming up. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. It's really cool to step into that. And I love that program, your program multi, helps you to connect in all ways so that you are able to acknowledge, recognize, which I think is the first step to connecting, is to even recognize and then to acknowledge. And then that's how you step into that communion, right?
Yeah. Oh, so good. I'm actually like, I just want us to take a moment and like do a deep breath for everyone listening, just to like sit with everything that's happened so far.
Feels so
Yeah.
good.
You just said it again. We're just flowing so nicely. I love this because you said, yeah, recognizing and acknowledging. And then I always take people another step further is to engage. And in your story, you shared that you engaged, that you actively took that you actively took steps to engage with what the bees told you. So yeah, it's one thing to heal, whatever needs healing. It's another thing to even say, hey, I see that I've healed that and acknowledge it. But now are you going to engage?
That's
Am
so
I
good.
going to, go out and engagement is basically another word for embodiment.
Yeah.
When we talk about embodying your higher self, embodying your healing,
Yep.
but sometimes because we don't really know how to listen to our bodies, and we've been societally conditioned not to
Right.
listen to our bodies, to something's wrong, go to the doctor, rather than asking yourself what's wrong with you, what's out of line, out of alignment, not what's wrong. It's always just your body's talking to you, depending on what symptom it is. And, on all across this board of all symptoms, there we go. Body's always communicating, and so I say the word engage because it gives our mind a little bit more traction to go. Oh, okay, I get help. Okay, so we did the healing. Now the body is taking it all in, and your body's going forward, and like, okay, cool. Whitney's got bees flying around her body. Okay, now mine gets to click in and go, okay, I'm horrified. I'm super scared. The noise fills me up. I can feel my heart racing. Well, now what am I going to do? I'm going to go research. Cool. You got to go research about bees. And then, though, cool, I learned what the message is. You could have just left it at that. And that would have been, that would have been like matte coloring, if we're going to talk about Technicolor again. But you engaged with it. You saw that it was, within your research of bees, what aligned for you was their purpose driven, was their association and connection to divinity. And you looked within yourself and said, that resonates. How can I now lead my days with more of that higher awareness of self?
Yes.
And you acted on that. That's engaging with the magic around you. And when you start to engage with that, that is kind of like that's kind of when, rather than being a square peg in a round hole, the square peg goes into the square hole and everything starts to just start slipping and slipping. And
Yep.
that's when, if you want to get tangible about it, that's when your manifestations start coming in. That's when, your prosperity and abundance can start to flourish a little bit more because you are engaging with the magic of the world around you from your place of higher self and higher divinity. So one of the things that I'm most excited for about, one, where I'm at in my life, and two, teaching this upcoming course, is I haven't manifested the life of my dreams. Not even freaking close. But I have never been this happy in my life. I have never been this engaged with the magic around me and the magic within myself. I've never been this confident. I've never been able to look at myself in the mirror and go, God, I love you so much. Never felt that before in my life. And it's been consistent. I've been feeling that tenfold for weeks, months now. And
Wow.
yeah, I get triggered. There's nights where I go to bed crying because, yeah, I'm still in the parents' house and I don't have the bank account that I want. But that isn't the only point.
Right.
So many courses are, do this to get to the 10K months, do this to,
Right.
manifest the life of your dreams. I don't want you to do something to manifest the life of your dreams. I want you to do something because it's going to make you love yourself. I want you to do something because it's going to awaken this sleeping, magical being within you that is ready to have fun, to love, to play, to engage and enjoy the enchantments of life. And when we do that, you learn the tools, you learn to do, you learn to see that it's all within you. You wake that all up inside of yourself and go, man, I am like my own board game within me. I've got all my pieces, whether it's, my skeletal system, my lungs, my thyroid, those are all like of your board pieces. But then you're the one actively playing. You're sovereign. I walk people through healings where they get to meet their sovereign self and attune to their sovereignty. We remove fear in the matrix from these strongholds in their bodies and say, hey, it's not just about getting the life that you desire. It's not just about learning your soul purpose and going, okay, cool, now what?
Right.
There's an interconnected, multi-faceted love and magic available to you that when you play with that and see how fun and joyful that gets to be, then everything comes. And you realize that while it's absolutely amazing, there was so much more to it than that.
Yeah.
And to get all cliche, it's about the journey, not the destination. but,
Hey, but
but
it's
it,
true.
it is, it's true. And it's really seeing that, all of these things come to you when you're aware that you've brought them to yourself or that you have gone out and got them.
Yeah.
Not that some external source brought it to you,
Right.
but that you did it
Yep.
because you're magical.
And that's what your animals really teach you, have taught you, and have demonstrated because they're constantly doing that themselves and not just doing that for themselves, but then also for you, like as you work
Oh,
with them.
yes, absolutely. I learn so much from them every day. It is just this constant, like kind of back to the beginning, this awe, this love, this just like overwhelming compassion for how brilliant they are. Every day my animals are showing me how to chill out, how to have more fun, to engage, and just to be enchanted. And even if I just go and I sit out on the porch with them and they start howling, it's really cool. I'll be in session, and I swear, for the last couple months, every time that I do a soul retrieval in a session, they howl. They'll start howling like right on cue. It's so cool.
That's
But
so
again,
cool.
but they're showing me um, the merit in that connectivity
Wow.
and the awareness of sovereignty and sentience across all realms. I'm looking at these animals and I'm seeing my sovereignty reflected back at myself. And they see their sovereignty reflected back in me because I've given that to them. And they go, hey, look what we can do. It's like kids playing blocks or coloring or doing finger paints. And you run to your mother when you're done with the drawing and you go, mom, look how good this is. I did that. And I get to look at my dogs or my horses after they do something like that. And I go, wow, thank you.
Mhm.
I appreciate that so, so much. What
Ah,
can I offer you?
mhm.
And a lot of times we'll start the day where I walk in, especially with the horses. I walk in with them and I go, hey, if there's something you need from me, let it be known. If there is something I need from you, I'll let you know. Other than that, though, can we please just play, dance, you know, go for a walk, entertain each other, and enjoy one another's company? It gets to be really simple within its intricacies. And I can imagine some people listening to this today might be really overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, there's that much to it. Oh, like, I thought I healed that,
Yeah.
or I thought it would ended here. And that's totally okay. I mean, oh my gosh, full acknowledgement that this is really overwhelming. I get overwhelmed a lot of the times when I'm like, oh my God, there's another aspect to heal from like this one thing that I've healed years ago that's come up
Mhm.
again.
Mhm.
And I get frustrated, but then kind of like how the Grinch stole Christmas, like devious smile. And I went, oh, if there's more to heal, that just means there's more magic available.
Yeah.
If I go out with the animals and it's almost like I almost kind of see it like I walk out with the dogs and I just like I see this grid kind of open up like just in my third eye and my awareness where it's like I see like 5 individual grids come up and then this greater grid of like the 6 of us, say if it's like my 5 dogs and me outside, and I see them as their individual selves. I see them as our collective self, as the 6 of us, and then I can kind of step back and go, well, who needs what? I don't want to assume that just because I want to go exercise and play in nature that everybody else does. And so it can be very overwhelming. It's incredibly intricate. It's infinite intricacies that are available to us, but you can allow it to be simple when you acknowledge the love and the sovereignty within yourself and within others and grant them the opportunity to act from their own place of sovereignty and love. Be an
That is
animal.
huge.
Yeah. be it tree, be it flower, be it your beautiful succulent collection that you have in your living room.
Mhm.
You can look at be it my bed I'm sitting on. I can look at my bed and be like, yo, I acknowledge your sovereignty and love. Like, thank you. You know? Yeah, it can be, yeah, it's infinitely intricate. But you get to play with the simplicity that is calling forward to you.
That's so good. I almost want to just sit in that.
I know, right? Like,
That's
okay, all right,
like,
everybody
I'm gonna
ground.
sit in that for a little bit later on today.
Yeah.
That's so good, Elsa. And I I think it's simple, yet it's just complex because we're multifaceted, multidimensional beings. That's the only complication factor, but it's not even a complication because it's our nature. It's who we are. So we already know how to operate out of that, whether we know it or not. It's just
Yep.
tapping into that understanding,
Awareness.
that knowledge, yeah, that beingness that we are, and not just operating from one dimension or one facet or a couple, but
Yeah.
realizing there's so much more available to us in just who we are, period.
Yeah.
And then exploring it beyond that is just even more fun. So I love that. And that's such an encouragement. And I know that this is definitely resonating in so many as they're listening. And so many are feeling called to your program. And so I just want to share my gratitude with you that you are launching this from a place of authenticity and love and sovereignty within yourself. And so I recognize that you have such a heart for people and for animals alike. And your work is just so beautiful. So thank you for offering it to us because it's needed. So I love
Thank
that.
you, Whitney. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this to continue to come forward and just be available, to
Yeah.
be magical and be there for
Yeah.
those that are ready. Actually, on my sales page, it gets very Taylor Swift. It like says like, are you ready for it? I had just watched her documentary, but also it's true though. It's like, are you ready for this? It's, are you
T
ready?
Swift. I love
She's the
her.
best. Shout out to
She's
Taylor. We love
yeah,
you.
love T Swift. I also think it's really cool. You have a digital series that's coming out that I'm like, I can't wait. Where your animals actually demonstrate work and help us work through our stuff by us just even watching and witnessing the work that they're doing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'd love to. It's funny, like we said in my bio, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be, but I do resonate most with calling myself an animal witch. And my animals are their own witches. I play with the magic and everything around that, but kind of within regards to what I define magic as is just it's an acknowledgement of energy exchange based and rooted in love, the elements of nature, and then utilizing that for the highest good and well-being of those around you. And so this Animal Witch Intuitive Development and Healing series is just that. It's my 5 dogs, my 2 horses, and my pony all having their own like profile. And within their own profiles, they have their own magic. And I'll talk about Dakota's because he's the one that gave me this idea. He's full of ideas, but so Dakota is very rooted in unicorn magic. And unicorn magic is all about your higher self and living from this place of as unfuckwithable. So it's like,
I can never
yes,
say that. I try.
I know, I know, like
You did
be
good.
slow. I can do this. And it's from this place of like, I of course I care what people think about me. I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I don't. But also, what they think about me has no merit on how I live my life from my place of authenticity. That's what unfuckwithable is. It's I honor and acknowledge people's other thoughts and beliefs and awarenesses within themselves, but I'm still just going to sit here and resonate from my highest place of Elsa and highest place of unicorn. And so Dakota is all about that. And within his, that's his magic. That's, say you were to work with Dakota, that would be what you'd be getting out of him. But also because, say Whitney, you went through it and did it, I'd get something completely different out of it than you would, because you're going to listen to him differently. You're going to have those activations that he is sharing with you within your body differently. There is a horse medicine video, which is basically, it's this intuitive practice where you get to watch him just walk around, just be, but you are engaging with his energy, with his consciousness, with his body positioning, with the trees and everything around him, and he's sharing messages with you. And depending on your strongest clairsense, it might be clairvoyance, it might be clairaudience, it might be clairsentience, and you'll feel something. You might have goosebumps, you might feel something in your legs, or it could be claircognizance, and all of a sudden you just know what he told you. And then there's some spell work, there's some intuitive development practices. And I share a couple videos for intuitive development because all of us use our intuition differently. And so I have like a video on there that's like using an altar, that's using the elements, that's muscle testing, learning your body's yes and no. But then it's all kind of through the eyes and lens of Dakota. How is he sharing this information with me? And then there's two other videos for healing, because his magic is of the unicorn, it's of, your higher self in place of authenticity. There's two different light language activations that I perform that are channeled through him. I asked him, hey, Dakota, channel light language through me for, for access and alignment into, their higher self. And I have two different ones. One of them is audio, so I speak light language. And then the other is actually sign. You get to watch my hands, and Dakota right next to me standing there doing light language sign. And it gets to wash through you. Light language is the universal language of love. It can be communicated through voice, through sign. People do art. There's many different ways people can do it, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's the universal language of love. And you get to let that just wash through you. And it's not meant to be understood and translated with your brain. It's meant to be felt and experienced through your being. So as you're listening or watching any of those light language healings that you'll get in any of those intuitive development series, just know that you can't translate light language, but you can feel light language.
Yeah, wow, that's so cool to witness and to experience. And so all of your animals are going to be able to have their own profile and digital, like mini series within the digital series for each one, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and I created it so that people can start empowering themselves. Hey, okay, cool. I'm in this place of like almost readiness, but I really want to start playing with my intuitive development. I want to start playing with the magic available to me in this world. I want to start seeing what's out there and how I can, see what's out there, and then again, make it my own, do it my way. And again, that's why I said I want everyone to do it their way, do it your way. And my animals are offering up their magic to help inspire people to do it their own way.
Mm.
So that's why I created it. That's what it's for. Is for for people to start playing with their intuition, playing with the magic of animals. And it's like, wow, if a magic animal's that magical, I must be, that magical. And again, just that possibility, that connection, that openness, that and connection too, not just from a place of, okay, no, wow, I'm connecting with myself deeper. It's wow, I'm connecting with this animal, not from a place of even physical contact, but this animal is looking at me. This dog is seeing me. I'm listening and communicating and hearing and understanding what this dog is sharing with me. I'm experiencing this animal sharing their magic with me. It's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly powerful and just really beautiful to witness and be a part of. There's times where, and of course, I have the pleasure and luxury. That's the other reason I created these is my animals are so incredible. I want everyone to be able to experience, their magic. But there's times, I mean, where I leave, especially the horses are so good about doing energy work on me to release stuff from me because they don't want to be around me if I've got like anxiety stuck in my shoulder. They're like, gross, get that out of here. And so they'll do energy work on me, and I'll leave there just in tears because I'm so grateful that I'm that supported. And that's like a beautiful thing that I don't know how we're doing on time, but if we have to end soon, is support. Is so many of us, myself included, I have taken the initiative to go through life alone. Like this self-induced, like I'm doing this alone, watch me. And we take pride in it. We've been told a condition we have to do everything alone. And we isolate ourselves. We also have a lot of past life history and ancestral history that says you're better off if you isolate yourself. That's your default, is to isolate.
Yeah.
And it has been really scary, really uncomfortable, really vulnerable and horrifying. to accept support. And I do it first because from a place of my animals and from my spirit guides, from my spirit team. I accept their support first because it's where I find comfort. I'm still working on feeling supported by other humans. And I do. I've got this wonderful small group of people, friends and family in my life that I feel supported by. But for me, that's my story. That's my way, because my soul is far more animal. I have more past lives as animals than I do as humans. And so even my soul resonates with animal support more openly, more honestly, more deeply, because that's what she resonates with. And so I can look at my animals and I can accept their support. And actually, Dakota, and this is in his thing, this is in his healing series, is we talk about the willingness to receive. Anything you do in your life, do it with the willingness to receive. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Right.
I'm not going to go get into a relationship. I'm single. I'm not going to go get into a relationship with somebody if I'm not willing to receive it. If I'm not willing to receive love. I'm not going to, go continue looking for a home to put a roof over my head that's not my parents if I'm not willing to receive it. If I don't feel worthy of receiving it. I am not going to go buy clothes if I don't feel willing to receive the beauty and confidence that they can help instill in me as I wear them purposefully with intention of my highest self and authenticity. And Dakota talks about that. And he says, all the time, I'll walk into him and he goes, "Hey, I've got magic for you. Are you willing to receive it?" And sometimes I'm not, but he gives me that sovereignty and opportunity to say yes or no. Because sometimes I'm like, well, I want to dance with you today, or I'm still sitting with this. I'm sitting with this pain and this grief and this trigger right now, and I just want your company, not your healing. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, sure. That's fine. But I don't expect him to heal me, and I appreciate and honor his support that he gives me.
Such a good balance and relationship to have, because it's both our honoring and preferring each other's love and sovereignty, right? And what you
Yeah.
need and what you're willing to receive in that moment, both ways. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
And so
awesome.
when this healing series comes out, if you're looking for support, that's another beautiful reason to look into it, to see
Yeah.
which of the animals calls to you. It might be all of them. It might just be a couple. And I'll have it bundled where it's like, if you want to buy an individual one, you can, or you can buy them all. But they're here to support you. This was their idea. They offered this up. They said, "Elsa, we want to help. We've helped you this much. We can help everybody."
Yeah.
They're very, very confident.
I love
Um,
it.
they're so sweet. And so, yeah, I really my life has changed 10 to the 12th fold because of these animals in my life, and they support me and they love me. And I'm offering that to everybody.
Ah, beautiful. Well, thank you for that offer, because
You're very
I
welcome.
definitely feel so much
I'll tell
gratitude
them
for it.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. From me to them.
Yes.
This is wonderful and has been such an amazing conversation. And there's so much more that we have to even talk about. Like, God, like I need you on again, which is totally fine with me.
That's fine. Love filling with you. So fun.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much for everything you're offering us. I know that humanity needs it. The world needs it. We need to connect in this way. And I love that your program helps us connect in that way. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Whitney. It was wonderful to be on here today with you. I had so much fun just getting to be in your energy and presence. And thank you.
Likewise.